Welcome to Creepo's Creepshow.
Hey guys, it's Dylan. Just wanted to tag a little intro to this episode. It is the most of the Q&A that we did with Felissa Rose on November 1st with that screening of Sleepaway Camp at the Paramount Room. So, if you missed it, here is most of it. And if you were there, thank you so much for coming. Listen to this episode anyway to maybe hear yourself ask questions, or maybe you missed something, but I don't know. We had so much fun. Thanks to the Paramount. Thanks, Felissa Rose, so much for just fucking being there. It was super cool to get to hang out and talk with you. And it was great to be able to, like, hang out with fans of the movie and, like, new fans of the show and everything. It was so much fun. Thank you so much for everybody who came out. And, yeah, enjoy the episode. Not next Friday. In 2 days, will be the Dawn of the Dead episode, the original one. So that'll be fun. We recorded it the other day. So this is sort of weird for me. So, just how time works and everything like that. Sure. Put on your best, worst fake mustache, listen to this episode, and, you know, have some fun. All right. Bye.
I don't even think we can make the movie today with a character like that. He is such an asshole. The way he talks to we could. And yes, he did. It was very rewarding. He got exactly what he deserved. He's as ugly now on the outside as he was on the inside. That's what we say. My kids have all seen the movie because I was going to so many conventions that they were like, "Mom, what is this about you and the face and the penis? Could you kind of explain it to us?" So my husband one night, like several years ago, said, "Family, we're sitting down and watching Sleepaway Camp." And I think my kids were like 6, 8, and 10 at the time. And they were like, "Okay," and slowly looked at me like, "Mama?" But, you know, my kids are huge horror fans, so they understand the art, and they love the special effects, and I've brought them on set my whole life. They've been in a lot of the stuff I've produced and I've acted in. I did the Slayer videos. I produced the new Slayer videos off the Repentless album, and they're the two girls who were getting killed by Danny Trejo. So you can tell they're like, "Ah!" And like Mama said, "Scream like you never screamed before." So yeah, thank you. Yes, hi.
Okay, so for the scenes
you have a lot of questions.
But okay, so for the scenes where it was like, you know, the camera coming down and all you see is the hand, what was his name? Ricky?
Yes.
Was that Ricky's hand?
Yes.
Okay. I was also
Was it his
wondering.
hand the whole time?
It's Ricky's hand.
It's Ricky's hand. I can tell. He has meteor hands.
Always. They never used my hands.
Okay.
My
'Cause I was
hands are
gonna
really
ask, were you just like
small.
standing behind the cameraman, just like when he was like in the shot or something?
Jonathan Tiersten was, who played Ricky.
yeah.
He was.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Also, okay.
Go ahead. Keep them coming, baby. Keep
I'm
them
trying to
coming.
come up
Take
with
your
a better
time.
question now that one was just kind of like,
Yeah.
that wasn't me.
No, there's a lot of shit in this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like we could watch it a few more times and still,
Right.
you know, be bewildered.
I guess just how was the experience being that young in that kind of film?
You know, it really was like the most amazing experience. It's probably, aside from having my kids, the greatest joy of my life was making Sleepaway Camp. Because it was the first movie I ever made. I was working with people I just loved. I'm still close with the whole cast. And I'm sitting here 37 years later, so, you know, it was just, it's a movie that is now a comedy. And
It's a nice mix of both.
It is. It's really hilarious, you know? I mean, it's so 80s. The costume, well, the costumes. We wore our own outfits. Those were our clothes. I mean, Ronnie brought his red jogging suit.
You got to. When you have that.
Yeah, it was the greatest time. It was the 80s. It was fun, and we were all really happy making the movie.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
So I got one on top of that, right?
Please.
So going into this,
Yes.
this being your first movie,
Going into the
right?
movie,
What were you expecting out of all of this? Like you were like, hey,
Okay.
I'm going to be in the movies, right? This is going to be my big show. What were you thinking?
Okay, first of all, that's an excellent question. Secondly, I've never been asked that. So you're really making me think about this now. So to be perfectly honest, I try to be as candid as I can. I didn't really know if I wanted to be an actress. I think it was my mom's dream. My mom was a model when I was real little, and I think she always really wanted to be an actress. And I sort of let her know that I wanted to sing, dance, like all little kids, right? So they put me in singing and dancing lessons. And then Sleepaway Camp was my first professional audition. So I think when I got it, she was so elated. She was so excited, like, oh my God, we got a movie. We got a movie. You know, it was like, I didn't really have a chance to decide, like, is this what I want to do? I'm still trying to figure that out. I sometimes sit, I'm like, did I choose this? You know? But I think it was such an incredible experience. I was excited to be on a set and learn how to make movies, that it wasn't just about making Sleepaway Camp or a horror movie. It was like, oh, this could be, you know, an incredible career. So I made the movie, it was fun, and then I went to college. I decided I'm not going to act. I went to college, I wanted to get my degree, and I took a lot of years off and I ran a business, and then I came back many years later. So, you know, I still wonder, like, did it choose me? Did I choose it? And how did it all really happen? But, you know, it's sort of it's one of those things where it's a beautiful coincidence, and it all happened for a great reason, and I'm very fortunate and very grateful that it did.
Oh, well, we're thankful.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I've got one to top on the last two.
Ooh,
So,
baby.
I know, it's like three. See,
Oh, it's 3.
well, yeah, because like he topped on the last two.
I like
so,
this.
So you didn't get to do any of the kills. That was Jonathan Pearson.
Yeah.
So, do you wish now that you did
No,
part one? No?
No.
Are you glad you didn't?
because I actually got to watch.
Oh.
So while he was actually performing the killings, I got to sit and watch Ed French, our special effects artist, create the burns and the knife through the back. I was sitting on the sidelines watching it all happen. And I think that's more exciting than once you're participating. It's kind of like, you have to act and think about that. So I got to watch the craft.
And then to follow up, so you said you went to college, you came back.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved in Return to Sleepaway Camp?
It was 2001, and Fangoria decided that they'd bring us to the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors in New York, and the entire cast and crew, we went in, we thought, oh, no one will be here, this movie, no one's seen this. And it was like standing room only, and we signed for like 5 hours after the screening, after the panel, and I think it was then Robert Hiltzik decided, you know what, we need to do a sequel. So he wrote the script in 2003. We filmed then, but it didn't come out until 2008.
Right.
So he just kind of said, hey, I have a script. This is the character. Do you want to play it? And has anyone seen Return to Sleepaway Camp? Well, this is a huge spoiler. I play a man in the movie. And it was so thrilling for me because, all the girls are wearing the short shorts and the bikinis, and I'm donned in the like full male.
Intergalactic.
I played a man with like a voice box the whole movie, and it was so fucking awesome. Yeah, I loved it. It took 6.5 hours to do my makeup every day, and 3 hours to take it off. So I worked about 20 minutes a day. So it was fantastic. So it was really fun, and I was, by then I was an adult, so it was really enjoyable to be on set. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for asking that. Yay!
How do you think Return compares to the original? And would you mind doing the stare?
The original Angela stare?
Yeah.
Okay. Couple of years older. Okay. I think Return to Sleepaway Camp is very similar in tone to Sleepaway Camp. I think 2 and 3, take a whole different tone in terms of, in the late 80s, we saw a lot of comedy and horror. So Sleepaway Camps 2 and 3 were more like comedy and fun and tongue-in-cheek. Has anyone seen the 2 sequels? And I love Pamela Springsteen. She's excellent in those movies. And I think Return, the reason I talk about Angela being sort of very introverted and insecure and bullied, I feel as though Alan in that movie was such a dick that it's hard to relate to a character who's like, your ass stinks. Everyone was kind of like, shut up, So it was hard to relate, but it's so similar to the original movie that I think we have audiences will like it as much as they like Sleepaway Camp because it's a lot of like it. I don't know. That's just my thought. I know people hate it. I'm all cool. It's art. We throw it out there. We make movies. Sometimes they're pretty shitty. Sometimes they're cool. We don't know, but we try our best. And, I'm proud of it. I really like the movie. So that's it. And scene. Come on down, baby. Hi.
Hello. My friend who introduced me to this movie at middle school could not be here, so I'm asking this question for him.
He's like, I will not show up.
If you could have Angela face any other movie slasher in a Freddy versus Jason scenario,
I
what would
will
it be?
kick Jason's ass.
Right.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Would I kick anybody's ass? So one of my closest friends is Kane Hodder. We have a podcast on Fangoria Podcast Network. Yes, that is a shameless plug. And he and I joke all the time, Camp Arawak, Camp Crystal Lake,
Right.
who's going to kick whose ass. I'm like, you're a pussy, you wear a mask. I know. So I would love to go against Jason.
Yes.
And especially the Kane Hodder Jason.
Yes.
I think he and I together would have a really good time at camp.
That's exactly who my friend wants you to fight too. So
I would love it. I think we might fall in love, but who knows?
Right. Oh, fingers crossed.
That could be very interesting. An Angela Jason baby.
Yes.
I'll call him. I'll tell him all about that. Oh my God, I love you. Keep laughing.
Thanks so much for coming tonight.
Thank you so
I'm
much
a huge fan, so I'm kind of a little starstruck. But
oh my gosh,
so,
you're so sweet.
I love you, and I grew up with watching horror with my mother. She was a big horror fan, and so even when I was really young, so we used to watch Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs. So having you and Joe Bob be on TV again now on Shudder has been awesome. So my question is, so now that you're the mangled dick expert, whose idea was that, and how did that come about, and how was that all arranged?
Wow, that's an excellent question. So Joe Bob and I have been friends for a long time. And when he was scheduled to do the marathon for Shudder, it was a one and done. He said, Shudder, I'm doing a one-time marathon. And they said, well, you should probably have a guest for one of your films. So he said, well, that fucking crazy lunatic, Felissa Rose. If we're going to have a guest, we should have the craziest guest. And so they called me in, and I was like, oh my God, I'd love to do it. Yeah, let's So they flew me out, and once I got to the set, he looked at me right before the cameras went on, and it was gorgeous and glorious, and I thought, holy shit, this is magical. And I even looked at him and I said, Joe Bob, this is magic. And he said, shut the fuck up. We're in a warehouse in Newark, New Jersey. Are you fucking crazy? And I said, no, I really believe like this is going to be something huge. And he said, the only thing I want from you is to be honest and real and don't answer any question like you've ever answered before. And I thought, wow, that's not a lot of stress on my shoulders. So I sat there with him, and everything he threw at me, I just wanted to be real. And he mentioned at the end of Sleepaway Camp that my dick looked mangled. And so it trended on Twitter. He was like, mangled dick, mangled dick, mangled dick. And I said, you know what? If I should get a series, you're going to be the mangled dick expert.
Nice.
And I thought, what? I don't even know what the hell that means. But I would love to be it. And we have some surprises now for season 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can honestly say like that's going to be even better than season 4. So I love that man. I'm so grateful to him, and just keep watching him on Shudder because he's the best.
Yeah.
He is the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes,
All
baby
right.
doll.
Well, speaking of Joe Bob,
Yeah,
so if nobody
We can talk about. We should call him.
Yes, let's call him. Let's call him right now. Let's call Joe.
I don't know if he's gonna answer, but I'll try.
We'll give it a whirl. I mean,
Okay,
hell.
let's try.
But regardless, what Rudy said in the next week,
Yeah,
on the 10th,
he's gonna be here on the
Joe
10th.
Bob will be here.
Yeah.
You guys should definitely go to that.
Yeah.
You can get the tickets online.
Yeah, you can get him
Yeah.
online.
This would be so sick if he answered right now.
Let's try again. It's okay.
I love that you have his full name in your contact.
We'll leave him. Let's leave him a
Okay,
message.
let's do it.
Hi. This is Felissa Rose, and a few people want to say
You've
hello.
heard of me.
So call us back.
Yes, he needs to right now.
He'll call us back.
So I have a question. So obviously, actor, so many years, right? When did you go into producing?
So I thought, well, I'm getting a little older. I can't just act, you know. I don't know. It's like I had my babies, and I just really wanted to act and then find other things in the entertainment industry that would really fulfill me. So this is kind of funny. It's the truth. My husband was like, well, babe, what do you think you want to do? And I thought, well, being a mom, that's kind of like producing, right? Like, I'm always helping, like, somebody who's hungry, somebody's crying, somebody's an asshole. So, like, I could totally produce. So he went on Amazon and bought 3 books about, I want to produce, let's produce, time to produce. I read them, and I just started talking to friends and people I knew, and they were like, hey, you want to come on board and, like, help produce our movie? And I got a lot of experience helping friends, and then suddenly it got bigger and better and more exciting, and now it's kind of like, I don't know which I love more. I love acting and I love producing.
Well, how did you fall in with Slayer? I'd like to hear that story.
So my husband being a musician, and he signed to Nuclear Blast because he also has a metal band called World Under Blood and 96 Bitter Beings with Nuclear Blast. So they were telling him how they had just signed Slayer and they wanted to make some really cool videos. And my husband was like, yo, my wife's like awesome. Like, she does horror movies.
So rad.
She's so fucking rad. And she's kind of like getting into producing. Like, I bought her some books. And she could make some good videos. So they were like, sounds great. We'll get on that. But he said, no, really, here's her phone number. Call her. And I went in, and they were like, okay, we are interviewing like a bunch of producers. What would you do to make a great Slayer video? And I said, I'd make a horror movie. I'd bring in all my friends, Bill Moseley, Kane Hodder, you know, Tyler Maine, Vernon Wells, everyone I know, and let's make like a movie. And they said, okay, do you know some directors? And then I brought in a bunch of directors, and they hired B.J. McDonnell, who had directed Hatchet 3. And, you know, the rest is history. Then they loved the first one, and they said, let's make more. And, you know, it was kind of like just a fun trip. And,
That's so
you know,
sick. Well, they are definitely super fun videos for sure. I tell you what.
they're insane and fun. They were like making movies.
Oh
though.
yeah,
They
you can see
took-
that. Because what is it? They
took
start
my
with the first
soul,
one, and
man.
then you go back and do a prequel, right?
Yeah,
And
we
so-
went and did,
Oh,
You
that's
Against
sick.
You is the prequel, and then Pride and Prejudice is the last one, and that's the most gory video, I think, ever to be made.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen them.
I don't care if you're a Slayer fan or not. Go watch these videos because they
Oh,
are
they're,
insane.
They're mini movies, and they were really fun to make and really fun to collaborate with friends. I'm friends with Richard Speight from Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the trickster. What's his name? You know, and now he directs.
Mr. Tricker,
He's so great.
Yes,
He's so great.
That's
And
his
he's
name,
in
right?
the video, and he everybody came out to play. They were just like, yeah, we want to do this, and we love Slayer, and it's fun. And they were the most amazing people to work with. So Pride and Prejudice, we had to shoot in the snow. So Kerry King and I thought it would be really fun to spend the entire night drinking whiskey.
Of course.
I was
Of course.
like, I don't think we're making a movie. I think this is a whiskey off with Kerry King.
Which you can't go
Nothing
wrong
wrong with
Yeah,
that. It was
no,
really
that's-
fun,
that's
and I
okay.
held my own.
And so now you're doing the podcast, right? How's that? You know, for us doing Creepo's Creepshow was just because we love horror movies, right? And we just wanted to hang out and talk to them. That was how it came to be.
Yeah.
How did yours come about? The Casualty Fridays.
So, I do Casualty Friday. As I said, I co-host with Kane Hodder and Tiffany Shepis on the Fangoria podcast. And because the producer of Casualty Friday is the producer of Joe Bob Briggs' Last Drive-In.
Of course.
And he came
Nice.
to me and he said, hey, do you want to do a podcast? He's my husband. Hey, you want to do a pod? It would be so rad. And I was like, sure. And then we called Kane and Tiffany, and they were like, yeah, we'd love it. And before we knew it, we were flying to Dallas to shoot in their studio. And I'm not supposed to say this, but
Let's hear it.
we've already done season 2.
Ah.
So we did season 1, and it was super fun and exciting. And now we just shot season 2. We do it all in 1 week, all 8 episodes. In one studio, and it's video as well. You could watch it on the Fangoria YouTube channel.
The Fangorians.
Nice.
We like
Fangoria. And so now we have guests, and I know no one's videotaping this, and no one's going to say anything. Our guests,
You were wrong about that.
the guests are amazing. So we have 4 guests that come on, and I'm happy because I feel like as an actor, you're always playing like a role, right? So you're, in character, and no one really gets to know you personally. And that's why I love conventions, because I just love people. I think really in life, I wanted to be a preschool teacher. I wanted to be a therapist. I just love hugging people and getting to know what makes people tick and work. And I don't know. I don't want to get emotional, but
Aw.
I do love everyone I meet. I feel very grateful. So the thing I love about the podcast is that I can be me and talk about things that I can't ordinarily speak about, that have happened in my life or that have happened in anyone's life. And I try to let this be known. I am very, I love social media because I try to really get to know everybody. And if anyone ever needs help or an ear or someone to talk to or vent or have someone understand them, you can always reach out to me. I would love to help. And I just really care about the human condition and people in general.
That's wonderful. So since you've been to so many conventions and you've been around for so long, who are some of the biggest icons that you've ever met?
Oh my
that
gosh.
really stand out for you?
When I sit next to Elvira, I have,
Oh, yes.
I get a hard on. It's so difficult for me to even sit at my table when she's sitting next to me because I'm like this.
Nobody can talk to you.
I'm insanely in love with Elvira. I love King and Hodder. I think he's one of the most magical people I've ever met, and I feel like he really helped me navigate and understand what conventions are because he cares about people so deeply, and he's all about like if you want to talk to him or understand like his life. His documentary is incredible. If you get a chance to Hell and Back by King and Hodder, his life story, please take a look at it because it's really extraordinary. He's a beautiful person. I love Christina Elise and Alex Vincent. I love Robert Englund. I love Bruce Campbell. I feel grateful that I get to sit with them at conventions. I went to see Sam Raimi recently at Texas Frightmare, and I couldn't even talk to him. I went, in fact, I think there was a photo taken of us, and I don't even know where it is because I just turned bright red and said, I love you. And so it was really, I'm a huge horror fan, so it's very difficult for me to meet people I love.
Right.
Because I'm like, I get all weird and shaky and fangirly. And I met Adam Green at a convention, and that was the same experience. Like, I couldn't even talk to him. I was all weird. And then fortunately, he reached out to me and said, look, I would love to be friends with you. And I still can't believe that. Greg Nicotero. So I just met Greg Nicotero. Well, I knew him years ago. We did a documentary together called Going to Pieces, The Rise and Fall of the Slasher Film.
Mm-hmm.
Great documentary.
Yes, very much so.
Such a good, informative film. And I hadn't seen him in 12 years. And I just saw him at Days of the Dead Atlanta, and he was at Ashley Lawrence's table. This is typical me. I ran over, oh my God, I don't know if you remember, my name's Felissa Rose, but I totally love you, and I would love to tell you, bye! And he was like, whoa. He's
Simmer down, lady.
He's like, lady, are you? And so we became friends after that, and it's still like strange because Creepshow is. I hope you get to see Creepshow on Shudder. It's
That's
amazing.
so good, yeah.
And he's just a genius, and it's always strange to me to become friends with people who I admire, and
That's yeah. What do you got coming up? You got any big stuff coming in works? I mean, obviously, besides apparently there's new seasons of the podcast, which
podcast
everybody
I'm
keep
really
that
proud of. I'm working with a director I really love named Thomas Churchill. We did a movie called Big Freaking Rat, which is a great
Awesome
creature
title.
feature. It's a great creature
Let me guess.
feature.
It's about a shark.
It's about a shark.
Okay.
And there are a couple of things I'm not allowed to talk about, which suck. Always sucks for me because I
We
love.
can make this an exclusive. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
Nobody listens to the show, right?
I'm flying out to do like Terrifier 2, and then I fly out to do a Christmas slasher, Minnesota, at the end of November. I'm doing a movie called Stepdaddy with my favorite actor, Vincent Ward. He's actually from Walking Dead. I work with Dave Sheridan, who's Doofy from Scary Movie. We're playing in a movie that's being filmed here in Oklahoma in January. What? Yeah, called Scream Test. And I play an old Scream Queen.
Wow.
I wonder where they got that from. And he plays my lover, and it's funny because we've done like 7 films together, and we're like best friends. So we did a panel together at Rock and Shock, and he's like, "We have to like make out this movie." I don't even want to think about that. So some fun stuff coming up.
Good. There's a ton of remakes coming out, obviously, and there always is, right? And so stuff like Friday the 13th coming out, a new Nightmare on Elm Street, new Candyman.
Yeah,
we were
talking about that
And
What
I
if they
love
did another
Tony.
Sleepaway? Would you hop in on that one? Maybe produce it? I don't know. I'm just saying words.
I like your words. Your words are super cute. I feel like the cool thing about Sleepaway Camp is
it could be pretty relevant, you know, with the topics that we just the bullying, like I said, and gender identification, and so I think there's certainly. What do you guys think? I think there's room for a remake for Sleepaway Camp. I know. There's a little groany. I used to say I wasn't like a big remake fan because once you have a beautiful movie, leave the movie.
Right.
Let's move on.
You know, the thing was a remake.
Yeah. Yeah, and
But there are good ones out there, obviously, with the
oh my
newest
gosh,
Halloween,
they're great.
right?
Oh,
Are you kidding me? Oh, wow.
Halloween, come on! My Bloody Valentine, Last House on the Left.
Mixed
You
bag
didn't like
of
that
blood.
one?
Oh,
dare you?
It's a
See,
touchy subject here.
I know,
okay.
I know. People
My
will.
Bloody Valentine, no.
I know, but you know what? You know what it is? I try to look at it from the standpoint of the filmmaker. Like, I think everyone does their best. She's like, that movie sucks. But I
Say
really
what
do.
you
I
will.
try to
I love you, but that movie.
I know. I try to support all of the remakes and all of the horror that's out there.
I watch, but
Right, you'll watch it. You might not love it, and I think that's the beautiful thing about film and art. Like, there's so much out there. Some we're gonna love, some we hate, but it's still like it's a genre that we, as a community, we all come together and we appreciate. We appreciate it so much from our hearts. So, I would love to see Sleepaway Camp remade. I would love to see how they would handle the ending.
The thing that I love so much about this genre is the good and bad, like, films. Like, the whole reason why I, like, saw this movie for the first time was with with my friend Randy. We, like, worked at Rodeo, and when we would work together, we would, like, turn on Shudder, and Randy would be like, "Have you seen this?" Like, "No, I haven't."
Did you see it with Joe Bob?
No. I watched. We watched it just like straight up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Without the Joe Bob stuff?
Yeah, but like just like watching just like anything, you know, just like pick a new movie like every week and would like watch stuff. And, like, yeah, I mean there was like some really good films and there was definitely some that I did not like. But you know, just the like how broad the genre is one of my favorite parts about the genre in itself. But well, okay. So does anybody have any more questions? We're
Anybody
gonna
else?
wrap it up. And
You don't have to come down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
You can
you
just
just yell it from afar.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Let's hear it.
Luciana.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, but I did a little pre-question while we were watching. The thing that it keeps me like curious about is like, what were you thinking every time you were staring at people while you were filming? Because you had to have some sort of like focus. Even
Like,
though
I'm
you're,
gonna
like,
kill you.
Yeah. What was your inspiration for Angela?
You know, a child's imagination is much greater
Yeah.
than the conditioned adult imagination. And Robert definitely helped steer me in that direction. Like, you want to kill these people. They're mean to you. You know, think about something you protect, like a little animal, a little whatever it is in your life that you love so much, and they're hurting it, and you give them that.
Because what I get from it is that either you were like staring at those people and making fun of them in your own mind, or just thinking about something else.
No, I was serious. I was
Yeah.
trying to be in the moment and really hating on them. Yeah.
Well,
And they were really good at making me mad. Look at them. Although I did laugh a lot with the chef. I couldn't keep a straight face. I was like, oh no, stop. He was like, what you wanted the walk-in.
So great.
another thing, I've heard about your mother didn't want you to do the final scene. So
Well,
was
she didn't
that-
want me to be naked because originally
and
they
with
wanted
the whole
to put a penis on me.
prosthetic or something. She
Nice.
didn't want you to do that. Right?
Well, being that I am a girl, you know, she felt like me standing there naked would be difficult for her because she didn't know how that would pan out. And quite honestly, I don't think it would have worked with a fake
No.
penis.
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
by no
No,
means.
no, we needed a real penis. Yeah, real dick.
You had a question back there?
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of weird, but do you remember when you were just watching this movie, like what music you were listening to at that time of your life?
Yeah. What was your favorite soundtrack of your own during that
Oh
time?
my gosh! Wow. Well, I don't. It was probably like Duran Duran.
Twisted Sister.
You know? Yeah, Twisted Sister. All the great '80s, early '80s. Toto, Rosanna. Because I thought like, oh, my middle name's Rose. So I remember that being like, remember that song, Rosanna. I'm an excellent singer. I'm as good a singer as big as penis. No.
There it is.
No, I loved Toto. I loved, all pop and rock, but definitely, it was whatever was popular on the radio. I can't really remember, but Duran Duran keeps coming back.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Duran Duran. Easy.
Thank you. That's a great question.
Anybody else? Anybody?
Christoph?
Christoph, you had something? You
Okay.
look.
Serious question for fans of the entire Sleepaway series. People really want to know. You, Pamela Springsteen, who has the bigger dick?
Whoa.
I did.
Yes, always.
She don't even have a dick. By 2 and 3, she transitioned. She was full female, so I have the bigger dick. And my beautiful friend who raised their hand in the back.
Oh.
Beautiful. Yeah.
My little brother just texted me and he wants to know what your favorite horror film is.
So I'm a huge horror fan. I watch horror movies all day, all night. Like I'm on the plane and I think people next to me are like, what?
Who's this wacko?
Yeah, what? My real favorite film that I love is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the
There you
original.
go. There you go.
I just realized no one can touch that movie. To me, it's like, oh my gosh. And Marilyn Burns is the original Scream Queen.
Yes.
I love that movie so much. I love Ed Neal as the hitchhiker. I haven't seen a movie that sort of penetrates us in a way that, like, you are not watching a movie when you see Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
It is so wrong. It is so crazy. It is so fantastic. Between the actors, the cinematography, the direction, it's just really. But I love I love Last Test on the Left. I love Wes Craven. That's another one that I feel like it's so authentic and raw and grainy and real and scary. And then more modern movies like The Strangers. I love The Strangers. I love Hostel.
Yeah.
We're talking about Hostel.
Yes.
I love Eli Roth. I'm a huge fan of Eli Roth. I love Get Out. There's a lot of genres within the genre that I love. I remember seeing the first Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Crazy. I love The Shining, Magic. Don't Go in the Woods, like if you want cheesy. I love cheesy, crazy $2 movies. The Dorm That Drip Blood. No one even knows what that is. I'm like, that's my favorite. Has anyone seen The Dorm That Drip Blood?
No.
Oh my God, I love you. I don't think anyone else.
Wins.
I
He
watched
wins.
that with my husband like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, could a person be in love with a movie? I'm in love with this movie right now. Yeah, I'm sick.
Yeah. Well, anybody else? Is it? Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
Let's keep
Okay.
going. This is so fun. Are we having fun? Come on.
So, other than Sleepaway Camp, if you could remake a horror movie of your choice, which one would you pick?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
could be your
damn.
favorite.
I can. The Dorm That Drip Blood.
There we go. Next question.
That's a really tough one. I mean, if I could make it, even if it had been remade,
Yeah, just again, whatever.
You know, you're really putting me on crazy territory. You know, I maybe The Shining.
Well,
Make it closer to the book.
I mean,
Yeah. It could be really interesting. I think it, you know, coming from my perspective in my career, which is like $5 movies, you know, it wouldn't be. I like less commercial, less glossy.
Same.
You know, I like the real, raw, gritty, kind of insane stuff.
That's why I don't like remakes.
Because you feel like they Hollywoodize it?
Because, like, for example, the victims are so polished, like The House on the Left remake. Even though the girl been through hell, she just get up and just pound her
Brush it
up,
off.
and
Yeah.
she looks flawless.
A lot of that's going to go to the directors, the writers, you know, who built this stuff out. Yeah.
I'm going to remake all of them, and they're all going to look like shit.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to look like they got run over by a truck.
Temple.
Michael, yeah, you got something there?
Whose penis was that?
Hang on.
It's an exclusive.
We had to go out in search of. I was part of the team. I feel like the dog. What is he? The dog. The dog.
The dick whisperer. Is that what's trying to go with?
Dick whisperer. They went out looking for a young college guy. We were in upstate New York, and it was like Albany State. All the college students, I guess, were roaming around one evening. And it sounds crazy. They found this one guy, and he was like, "Sure, I'll do it. I'll do it for like $250." And so,
I like to see that conversation. Hey, buddy, I'm looking for dicks.
Yeah, they did. It had to be a guy who was my height, my shape, who was willing to shave his body. He had to be 18 or older because it was nudity.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of crazy requirements. He had to have a narrow face because my face was narrow and the mask had to fit. So it was like, what do you think? And the guy said, sure. And he came to set, drank a bottle of Jack, and cried. Cried the whole night. I was like, dude, stop the crying. No, I was only there for the beginning of the night. I only did the close-ups.
Oh my god.
The close-ups are me. You know, the body's me. I'm with Paul. The guy's head was decapitated, and all we care about is she's a boy. We don't give a shit about that guy who died. She's a boy. Right? It's like, what happened? We didn't care about that poor little Paul. But yeah, that guy, he's the real star of the movie, and he cried the entire night. And we're doing a documentary called Angela, and I say the whole movie's about me trying to find my dick. Right? It's like, where is my dick? I will die trying to find my dick. So we're gonna find him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, give it up for everybody. Yeah.
I feel like you're sequestered in this room. Like, we will not let you go. So I talk about my dick for 10 hours.
Well, we'd like to thank for everybody to come out tonight. That was so rad. It's great having you here.
Yeah. Aw, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We look forward to doing more stuff like this, right?
Yep.
Yeah, don't you think they should do more?
Yeah.
I was like the guinea pig. I was the guinea penis.
Yeah.
Don't you think
We had to
we
start
should
off
have
strong,
more people?
right?
Yeah. What movies would you like to see?
Yeah, let's
This
see.
is my question to you.
Halloween.
Cool.
Okay.
Totally.
Greasy Strangler.
I'm friends with them. Those are my buddies. I can call them. We could get them.
Okay.
That's a crazy ass movie.
Let's do that.
They're
Actually,
wild.
so
Yeah.
next week
we
we'll
should
have-
call Michael.
Hey, so
I'm like, let's call someone. Call Kane. I'm like, Kane, look, I'm at a screening. How big's your dick?
well, next week we'll have to have Joe Bob call you.
Yeah.
So be sure to answer
Then
your
I'll be like, hey, Jim, what's up? I'm having a vodka. Like, he didn't answer, you know?
But yeah, if you guys haven't heard Creepo's Creepshow, we are a weekly horror podcast.
Yep.
Check
them
myself,
out,
Dylan,
please.
Camille, the blue-haired girl that you all met up from. Yeah. Look forward to doing more stuff like this, obviously.
Yep, definitely gonna try to do
Yeah,
more. We
yeah.
just need to get people here. So, and this is the first time we've done this. Had a fucking blast setting this up.
Yeah.
You were amazing. And yeah, hopefully we can do that, use this theater, have more people out, and have more screenings, and have a bunch of fucking fun. It's gonna be sweet. Yeah. So,
Oh, Christina Lee.
Oh.
So great.
But yeah, check us out, iTunes, Google Play, all that jazz.
Yep.
You want Child's Play?
Ooh.
Would Child's Play be fun?
We can do a Child's
Yeah.
Play.
Round of
Yeah.
applause for Child's Play.
Yeah.
Let's keep it on there. Yeah, that'll do.
We've been doing it for a year. We've got a good list of stuff.
Yeah.
So check out some of those episodes. Yeah, I got nothing. That was just rad. It was super rad.
Aw, yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you guys. I love you. I appreciate it.